Greetings and welcome to another edition of The Pedal Shift Project. The Pedal Shift Project is a series of conversations, thoughts, and experiments on bicycle travel adventures. From tips and tricks to ideas on how to ride your ride. Let's shrink the world by bike. Show notes and more are available at pedalshift.net/413, and you can email the show at pedalshift@pedalshift.net or text me at 202-930-1109 and check Pedal Shift out on all the socials as well. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 413th edition of the Pedal Shift Project. My name's Tim Mooney. Thanks so much for joining. On this edition, part 2 of the mysterious Oregon Coast 2025 adventure. Look, day 2 and 3, because we have 2 days in this part, of the Oregon Coast tour evolve into an epic quest for an elusive bicycle part. Is this a mere repair mission or a saga worthy of Greek mythology with adaptive problem solving, multiple contingency plans, long distance bus adventures, heat stroke avoidance, and kind bike shop professionals who go above and beyond?
Good morning from Cannon Beach, Oregon. The beginning of day 2. How much cycling will we be doing? Unclear. We are up and at 'em. James slept in quite a bit later than he usually does, which is great because we do have the time. The earliest, as a bit of a review from last episode for you, last night for us, is that he has to go and call the first shop at 10:30, or 2 shops in Seaside that may have this. If he's able to secure it there, he'll go to Seaside and get it, and we'll potentially have more time to be able to go. There's a second shop that doesn't open till noon. Of course, this is the Sunday of a holiday weekend. They are open, but who knows exactly what time they'll show up. We'll just figure that all out. But plan is we're going to go grab some breakfast at Pig and Pancake, which is a classic. I usually am going to the one in Lincoln City, but here we are in Cannon Beach, and we got some time, and it's a good big breakfast for us if we do end up doing the Arch Cape Tunnel today, which certainly is in the realm of possible. Yeah, we could be biking as early as, 1 o'clock, or as late as 4 or 5 o'clock, or not at all, because it's just going to depend on what's available. We may not be able to secure the part that James needs, and then we're going to have to rethink what's going to be in the realm of possible. There's lots of different options that I've got in my head, none worth sharing at this point, because that would be into plans D, E, and F, I think, at that point. But in any event, we are excited for the morning, and we decided that we're going to purchase another night here, if only just to allow us to keep our stuff here. And if we do decide to bike on, so be it. This just secures the ability for us to keep our stuff here into the early afternoon, and then we can pay it forward for any other hiker-bikers. But that is it. James is looking to be ready, so I think we are going to go grab some breakfast. More to come. So it is just before noon, and the degree to which we have just spent an hour talking about various plans, it's shocking to the conscience, and we will not share that degree of detail with you, because a lot of things are dependent on the outcomes of certain phone calls that are about to be made. But the initial plan, at least at this point, is to see if that Seaside option is available, because that's the one that sort of gets this handled and the part in hand the quickest, in which James is just going to get up to Seaside, get it, come back. But he's making a phone call now. Option number 1, the first shop that opened at 10:30, did not have it. So we're checking the second one, and James will be making that call in a little bit. From there, if that is not an option, we have gone through permutations galore. And the kinds of thinking of what do we place values on and things like that would leave your head spinning. But some of the options include overnighting the part. Some of the options include going to Portland, believe it or not, because the overnighting, it is a Sunday, wouldn't be able to get here until Tuesday. And of course, there's all sorts of different things. We've got a guy here in town that we know is here tonight, but don't know what his schedule is for Monday or Tuesday. So any reliance on him for doing the repair, putting this together, is very much dependent on his schedule. So like we've got a whole bunch of different question marks depending on how plan A goes. And if plan A is no good, we are going to have to reserve this campsite for another night just to be able to keep our stuff. We may be staying here, we may not be. There's a whole bunch of different things, but you will learn all about the final disposition of all of this rather than having a treatise of a half hour. It would probably take us a half hour to go through all of the different permutations and options here. But the Monday plans are so up in the air because we could be waking up in Portland, we could be waking up here, we could be waking up down the line. It's entirely possible that we could end up being able to be biking today here on day 2 and get to the next campground south. So many different things that are possible right now, and we just need to find some answers, and the answers are everything hinges around noon because the dude here in town opens at noon. The shop in Seaside, that is our last remaining option there, opens at noon. Lots of things to figure out based on the outcome of answers to the question of, do you have this very particular part or the entire crank set available? That just ends up answering everything. Much more to come. It's a fascinating bit of mechanical situations here, but we've actually had some fun with it. And of course, off mic, because again, it would be mind-numbingly boring for you to listen to. All right, answers, perhaps, after the whoosh. All right, from Cannon Beach, Oregon. James, what is the status of Plan A?
Plan A is a no-go.
Plan A is dead. Plan A is gone. So we are now walking to the bike rental shop with our guy Ian, because Ian's going to determine what our next couple of days are going to be like. I think that we have determined no fewer than 3 and perhaps 4 different options, that some of which include staying here, some of which include going to Portland, some of which going to Portland with our things, and some without our things, some of which have us staying overnight in Portland, some of which do not. It is wild, and it's all depending on what our guy Ian can do for us. So we are walking there right now, and we're going to inquire, hey, Ian, what's your Monday and your Tuesday looking like? Specifically, Monday at 8 p.m. Like, also, depending on the answers to some of your questions, would you be willing to keep our stead?
Yeah, store all our stuff in your shop.
So we've got questions for Ian, and there are lots of different kind of things. And I think we need to organize our thoughts as to the order in which we ask things.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
You are correct.
Yes. And we also determined that I'm paying for dinner tonight, and James argued against himself.
Yeah, I did.
For the record. From Cannon Beach, Oregon. James, what letter plan are we at now?
I think D7.
I think we're at F. We're at Plan F. Again, not to put this all on you with a number of permutations and changes, but we end up at the shop with our guy Ian. A Sun Cycle? Is that the name of the place?
Fun Family or something.
Fun Cycle, I think it's called. Ian is an absolute rock star, has been so helpful with us. Like, literally, he's got other things going on. That's why we're getting to Plan F, but like he was still offering to do things that just were not possible considering the things that he had going on, and we'll just leave it at that. But the guy really is bend over backwards. As we were planning on getting the bus to Portland, we were Portland bound, because as he was saying, the constraints on his schedule, it just eliminated all of the earlier letter plans that included staying here and having him fix it, including overnighting the part here, because that was really what we were hoping we'd be able to do. When we found out that he was going to be leaving town and it just wasn't going to be possible. So we were like, we're going to Portland. And then he desperately wanted to be part of the fix, which was great. And he came up with something that actually we determined, and again, not to bore you all with details, but we've traded a little bit of certainty for the possibility of getting James's bike fixed and rideable about a day early.
A day early, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Instead of potentially on Tuesday.
So we are going to go to Warrenton, Oregon, which is basically all the way back up to Astoria. It's this kind of twin city town next to it. There is a bike shop with apparently Ed, who is a legend apparently, and his shop. And he, once This was crazy. So Ian was able to, through a mutual friend, find Ed's personal number and called him on his day off. Sorry to bother you, etc., etc. And and then he rattles off this very specific part that James needs. And dude, who is not in his shop, it's his day off, I think I've got one of those, a used one. And after the phone call, I was like, now, 175 millimeter, right? Did you mention that?
Yeah.
And Ian's, I didn't mention that. So he calls him back again. Yeah. And he's like almost positive that he's got this in the right size. And so we've traded some certainty here because we're going by Ed's memory. He is open tomorrow at 11 a.m., and so we're grabbing a bus. And there were all sorts of other permutations to all of this. Do we bring gear? Do we not bring gear? But we are going to bring all of our gear and our bikes to Warrenton, Oregon. And we place the possibility of this actually working at about 50%.
Yeah, it's a coin flip.
It's a coin flip. And then we have we have plan G and beyond if, in fact, the coin flip comes up wrong. I think that we will probably have at least one more entry in this, the most crazy of day twos. It's our 0 day. We burnt our 0 day, James.
Yep.
But we have actually had quite a bit of fun. We went to Haystack Rock on the beach. We had a nice lunch. And now we're going to go relax for a little bit because we can do that. All right. Anything else to add?
Nope, that sums it up.
It's been an interesting trip so far. All right. More to come. Good morning from, Cannon Beach, Oregon. It is day 3. And is it day 3, James?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's day 3. Okay. Yeah. It's just we've been, because of the nature of how things have gone, it's, oh, wow, that's crazy. We are packing up. It is a little after 7. We've got a coffee made, and we're just slowly pulling our things together. The plan this morning is we are going to be getting on a bus that will take us up within about a 10-minute walk to the shop that probably, maybe 50-50 has our part. And if it's got the part, then we will get it repaired there. And we may be back on a bus, I think at a 2 o'clock-ish range, if memory serves. And then what that does is it puts us right back here in Cannon Beach. And the intention then would be probably to ride the 17 or so miles to Nehalem Bay State Park, which would be our campground for the night. Does it get us back on track? Back on track for sure, but like back on schedule, no. But I think that it's probably obvious to all of you listening that the schedule is no longer relevant. We're just going to bike however far we feel like going, and then we're going to supplement with some fast forwards in the next few days. But basically the whole idea is we've got to get to Harris Beach by Saturday, which allows us for a short ride on Sunday for me to get my rental car. I don't know where we're at. Plan I. Actually, we still haven't disposed of plan F or G yet, so we're still in plan F, but we may be in plan G. We'll have to see, because if there is no part, we may be staying in a hotel tonight. So we're just rolling with the punches and enjoying things. We ate 2 consecutive meals at the Pelican yesterday. And the dude who was our server at lunch brought our meals for dinner. But the crazy thing was that James and I just reversed our orders. So James had the salad and I had the burger for dinner. And dude was a little confused. Like he thought, did we maybe come in a different day? It was funny. But that was last night's shenanigans. And then it was chilly last night, and it's chilly this morning. There is a marine layer this morning that there hasn't been for a few days. The sun has been really strong, and both of us got sun on the day we rode and then just walking around yesterday. So I think both of us would be grateful if we had some cloudy conditions for a few days, but it is what it is. We'll deal with it, and that's just that. We're packing up so that we can roll out of here. We are going to also be able to bag up so that we can get our gear into bags that we can bring on the bus, and then we'll put our bikes, of course, on the rack. I've never ridden this particular system, so I'm not as familiar with it. It's $1, and it gets us all the way up to Warrenton, which is the end of the line. Warrenton is the town that's closer to Fort Stevens compared to Astoria, which is where we kind of started everything with the rental car return and everything like that. So we're going back to not just the beginning, but past the beginning a little bit. But that's fine, because that is a 50-50 chance, we think, we assess, of it being the solution. And if it's not, we know that we can get the part overnighted to that same shop, which is open tomorrow. So we feel like that this is the right solution. As we had mentioned before, we did consider Portland as an option. We watched the bus that would have taken us to Portland last night roll by Pelican Brewery, and we were like, oh, there goes plan C or D or something like that. But I think that this ultimately ended up being the right choice, because this is, if it works out, the fastest way that we could get this repair done given the circumstances. It's a great idea for us to be there. This gentleman, Ed, is supposed to be one of the better techs on the coast. We have been told that works out great too. But extra shout out to Ian yesterday at Fun Cycle here in Cannon Beach. He's just been so helpful. And if you need to rent a bike, if you want to have a mechanic in Cannon Beach, he is your option. He is the only option in Cannon Beach. And Cannon Beach has served us well. James, I'm going to saunter over to James. He doesn't realize this. Any thoughts?
No, I'm curious to see how today's going to unfold. I have no idea. Plan out.
We think. From Plan Double Z at the Beaverton Transit Center in Beaverton, Oregon. James, say hello. I'll explain all this.
Hello!
Okay, so we were sitting there in Cannon Beach, realizing how much more tenuous the Warrenton plan was, because we knew that James's 2.8 inch wide tires fit in very few bus racks. And when we discovered that the bus going all the way to Warrenton happened twice a day, the next one wasn't until 5:50. And James and I went through, it could have been 20 different options about getting up there. If we can't both get up there with our gear, then James just gets up there. And then we were looking at whether Uber had any availability, and we would need an Uber XL. Like, the amount of permutations, folks. That's why I'm like from Plan Double Z, because I swear we're at that point. And so that's when I went back to my original thing of I favor certainty over non-certainty. And that's when we looked up and saw that the bus to Portland, and dog ear that for a second, left at the exact same time as the bus to Warrenton. So we knew that we couldn't do this thing, that we were like, oh, if the bus to Warrenton doesn't work, we just get on the bus to Portland. No, we had to make a call. And so we made a call. We bought the tickets to Portland and learned a few things about transit bus racks. One of the other buses that was actually going south to Tillamook couldn't take that size tire. Dog ear that for a second. So we decided, okay, the bus to Portland, the bikes go underneath the bus. We knew we could do it. There was certainty. We felt very confident that we could get the part that he needs in Portland. And then I start doing some perplexity searches, that's an AI thing, saying, hey, what are the top 10 most likely shops in Portland for this thing? And it gave us a thing about an online store that has, quote, Portland ties called Universal Cycles. And from that point on, we were like, oh, does it have a physical location in Portland? It goes, no, it does not. Oh, but it does have one in Beaverton, Oregon. And that's when we realized that we were on a bus that actually did stop here in Beaverton, Oregon. James snuck up to the front in Hillsboro, said, hey, are you stopping in Beaverton? Is it cool if we get off there? He's like, yeah, absolutely. And we know that we're now about a 12 to 18 minute hoof from Universal Cycles, which James got online on our phones. By the way, not possible without phones. So you folks who don't like technology, you'd still be stuck on the coast with broken ass parts. But here we go. James found that they had 8 of them in stock and that it could be picked up in Beaverton today. So we now know with certainty that we can roll down to that shop. Whether they'll be able to put it in or not is the only open question, but it does look like that we'll be able to purchase the thing. And then here's the other crazy thing. We can come straight back here at about 5:30 or something like that and grab the very same bus back to where we started in Cannon Beach. And so that's seeming to be Plan Double Z at this point. But there are other ones. One-way car rentals, $400 to Newport. We were all over the map. But I think that this ends up being the quickest, most effective thing that we can possibly do. And we're going to have to play some catch up. We're going to have to do some fast forwards down the coast. And hopefully we'll be able to do it where they'll allow James's bike in the back of a bus, or they may have what we've now discovered there to be. There are sports racks that are a different type of bike rack on the front of some buses, including one that I'm looking at right here in Beaverton. James brought his tire right up to it, and it did fit. So there are some buses that can handle fat tire bikes, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case on the coast, at least for the buses that we'd be looking at. So anyways, our heads are spinning. I don't know how this is going to come out in the podcast, but like, we have just been doing permutation after permutation. And so here we are on day 3. It is 80-something degrees here under blazing sun in Beaverton, Oregon. But we feel really good because we feel pretty confident that this is all going to work out. Spirits are high. Expectations are high.
Don't let us down.
Don't let us down. Yeah, so we're just going to have to see how this all goes. We need a win. But I feel like we got some wins here. That like figuring out that the ability to get off here in Beaverton saves us over an hour, because it's however long it was to drive the rest of the way in, and then we were going to take the Max to this very spot, Beaverton Transit Station, and then hoof over. So this really saved us a lot of time and gives us a lot more opportunities. So time at this point is on our side. Where we're going, it's an enormous shop. They do a lot of online sales, which is why we're really fortunate. It's really great. James is almost loaded up. I got to catch up since I've been yakking it, y'all. James, any last thoughts on Plan Double Z?
No. We'll see what happens.
That is true. I think this is now the we'll see what happens tour. From Beaverton Transit Center, a few hours later. So, James is cycling on his bike. James is moving, he is pedaling. He has the parts. We went to Universal Cycles and walked there the whole way. It is hot here, like really hot, near 90 degrees. And super sunny and everything, so we are really cooked from all of that. James was able to get his part procured. We had to ask nicely to get it installed because the guy was like saying, no, we're not doing repairs we're out a couple days. But James put on the charm, and yes, the gentleman very graciously helped us out and got it on there. And may have a little bit of gearing re-indexing that James has to do, but otherwise, the important thing is he's got a pedal on it. That's huge. We hung out for a few hours. We did get some lunch, and then we just cycled back here. It was about 1.5 miles, and there was a hill, and boy, oh boy, I am just cooked. James and I were just talking. I was saying, we're just out of sync. We're so out of sync with all sorts of different elements of our bike touring. We'll go back we're turning around and going back on the same bus that we came in on. So we'll be back in good old Cannon Beach again. We'll stay at the same campsite again. We'll get dinner at the Pelican probably again, just because it's easy and we know it's open and everything. But we're probably ready to go. We've scoped out the next day or so, but I am also just not feeling right. You may recall in the preview episode I mentioned that I was exposed to COVID. I have not gotten it. I have not tested for it, but boy, something's not quite right. So I am going to hopefully get a good night's sleep, and hopefully tomorrow will be a new day, be hydrated, get food in us, start in the morning, and then we're just going to see how it goes. It's 17 miles to Nehalem Bay, and then our kind of goal is Tillamook, which is around the 40-mile point, and then the potential stretch goal beyond that, but I doubt that. But if I'm not feeling right, then we may rethink things, we may rethink the final destination, all of those types of things. But like the important thing is that the bikes are set. We're still having fun. We're going back to the coast, thank God, because it is hot. It's going to be another hot day here tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to try to get us back onto some kind of semblance of biking and camping and just hanging out, which is what we've been able to do. And this trip has been fun and great. But as you have heard these small snippets, all of the various ramifications and the change in plans, we have had so many different ways of trying to solve this problem, and we ended up solving it pretty quickly. To have this done on Monday and to turn around and come back on a holiday weekend, it happened on a Saturday night before almost everything was closing. We were able to diagnose it and figure things out, and then Sunday was a bit of a lost day because things were closed. But to be able to get this handled and procured, handled, fixed on Monday, and then to be able to get back to the coast on the same day, it's miraculous. It's really quite excellent. And the fact that this bus exists that allows for James to easily get a 3-inch wide tire on with no problem, the fact that there was a bike shop with the part within walking distance and then biking distance back, all of this is really quite remarkable. We're very grateful for all of that. But yeah, seeing if we can kick out of this cycle and get us into a place where we can get into some rhythm and enjoy ourselves. That's really what matters. And if I don't make it all the way down to where I was intending to, that's fine, because I've got an option to turn right around. I can change my flights. I can do all those other things. And so this is still a great adventure. And we got all week for it. It's just Monday. So much more to come. Here from Beaverton Transit Center on our way back out to Cannon Beach.
Statistics. Plan iterations reached 26, maybe 100. Lost track. Bus routes options analyzed 3. I think that's low. Bike shops contacted or visited 5. Days with minimal cycling in this portion 2. Temperature differential from a chilly marine layer in Cannon Beach to 90 plus degrees in Beaverton 30. Flats 0.
Thank you for joining. You can find Pedal Shift at pedalshift.net for more great bicycle touring content. You can hear the Pedal Shift project through Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app. Opening music courtesy of Jason Kent off his self-titled album. The track is called America. Check out his band Sunfield's latest release, Mono Mono, wherever cool music is available.